Here is exactly how the Food Manager Certification exam works and how to pass it. If you are the person in charge of a kitchen, this is the certificate your health inspector asks for. And it is not the same exam your food handlers took. The credential is the Certified Food Protection Manager. Here is the part that confuses almost everyone. It is not one exam owned by one company. A national conference writes the standards, a national accreditation board accredits the organizations allowed to give the exam, and several accredited programs exist. ServSafe is the best known of them, but it is not the only one. What your regulatory authority wants to see is an accredited certificate, not a particular brand on the front of it. Take the best-known version as your reference point. That exam is 90 multiple-choice questions with a 2-hour limit. Most people finish well before that. The published average is about an hour and a half. You can skip a question and come back to it, and you do not have to answer in order. You need 75% or better to pass. There is no essay, no practical, and no oral section. It is multiple choice the whole way through. There is no experience requirement to sit it, and you do not have to take a training course first, because the exam is sold on its own. Most people still take a course. What you genuinely cannot skip is identification. A photo ID with your signature, like a driver's license, a state ID, a military ID, or a passport. A photocopy will not be accepted, and without valid identification, you will not be allowed to test. One more thing worth knowing, and hardly anyone mentions it. If English is not your first language, you are allowed to bring a bilingual dictionary. So what is actually on it? The spine of this exam is the flow of food. You follow food through your operation and you get tested at every stage. Purchasing, receiving and storage, then preparation, cooking and cooling, then holding and service. Wrapped around that spine are 2 more layers. Underneath it, the hazards you are preventing, biological, chemical, physical, and allergens, plus personal hygiene and employee health. Above it, your facility with its cleaning, sanitizing, and pest control, and the management systems you personally own as the person in charge. One practical note that will save you time. Unlike a lot of certifications, accredited manager exams do not publish a percentage breakdown of those content areas, so do not go hunting for one. Treat every stage of the flow of food as fair game, and treat the management layer as a real subject rather than an afterthought. Now here is the thing that should reshape how you study, and almost no prep guide says it out loud. The FDA Food Code is a model. By itself, it is not law anywhere. States adopt it, but they adopt different editions of it and then amend what they adopt. The current full edition is the 2022 Food Code. There is a supplement published on top of it, and the FDA has said it will release an updated food code this year, which means the exact number your local inspector enforces can differ from a number printed in a study guide written somewhere else. What that means for you is simple. Learn the principle and the system, then confirm the specific thresholds with your own regulatory authority. On the exam, the reasoning is the thing being tested. That points straight at the idea this whole credential is built on: active managerial control. A food handler follows rules. A manager builds procedures that keep the known risk factors in check, monitors whether they are working, corrects them when they are not, and retrains the team. Fixing a violation because an inspector wrote it down is not control, it is reacting. That distinction decides a lot of answers on this exam. Let's do 2 real questions. First one. During a walkthrough, the person in charge sees a cook mixing a large batch of lemonade in a galvanized tub. What is the primary concern? The answer is that acid in the lemonade can dissolve metal from the tub into the drink. That is a chemical hazard, and it is a good example of how this exam thinks. The tub is clean. Nobody did anything obviously dirty. It is still unsafe, and you are expected to see why. Second question. In an operation with no approved bare hand contact procedure, which task may a food employee perform with bare hands? Washing whole lettuce and tomatoes at the produce prep sink. The rule underneath it is that bare hands do not touch ready-to-eat food. Produce you are about to wash is not ready to eat yet, so hands are fine at the sink. The moment that lettuce goes onto a sandwich, you need tongs, a utensil, or gloves. So how do you prepare? 4 things. 1. Drill practice questions until the reasoning is automatic and push well past 75% before you book the exam. You want margin, not a coin flip. 2. Learn the vocabulary because this exam turns on single words. Exclude versus restrict, cleaning versus sanitizing, ready to eat, susceptible population. Those words decide answers. 3. Write down every question you miss, sort your misses by content area, and spend your study time where they cluster. 4. Read each question carefully and manage the clock, but also never leave anything blank. A blank answer is scored as wrong, and there is no penalty for guessing, so an eliminated guess always beats an empty box. To recap, 90 multiple-choice questions, 2 hours, 75% to pass, photo identification required, and the certificate is typically good for 5 years, though your jurisdiction sets the real requirement. Several accredited programs give this exam, and any of them counts. Study the flow of food end to end, learn the vocabulary, and remember the food code is a model your state adapts. You can practice all of it free right now. Start at .com/en/food-manager. The questions are written to the same content areas in English, Chinese, and Spanish, and every one comes with an explanation. Good luck on your exam.